should have guessed. Keyboard was Cyrillic. ZX. I needed a keyboard for reference. ZX. Medovsky had an extensive collection of management books. The 7 Secrets of Leadership, 2009. The Business Bonaparte, 1983. Office Eagle or Management Mouse, 1998. Leather-bound classics, bought by the yard, no doubt. It was a beautifully inlaid cigarette box. The catch had snapped. Sadly, the catch would have been too thick to cut with nail clippers. The pipe just flexed and slipped off the catch. The wood would have been too weak. Can you hear what they're saying?
Yes.
You should not have turned up here, Mr. Hobbs. I made it clear I would deliver the package later today.
I wanted to make sure it got to me all right. I've got a lot of work to do on it.
This is most inconvenient.
Medovsky's arguing with his visitor, Ops, about the portfolio.
That portfolio is important, I'm sure of it. Medovsky in Libya. Happy days. What kind of guy hangs a picture of himself and Colonel Gaddafi on the wall?
The kind who will commit murder in order to steal their own painting.
It was a Russian privatization voucher. I wondered why Medovsky displayed it so proudly. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf inside was a business card and a scribbled note. I picked up the business card. It read, Wilfred Hobbs, Fine Art Restoration. I made a note of the address. Then I put the card back where I'd found it. No point arousing Medovsky's suspicions. The note read, L. Serp drawings for you to check. W.H. Now we're cooking with gas. I wondered if the painting could be in the portfolio that Medovsky had taken. I suspected the medals weren't from the Moscow Debating Society. See a penny, pick it up, then all day you'll have good luck. A Russian imperial egg. It looked rather plain. It was a thank you note from a British politician. Medovsky certainly had some dubious friends. Everything was in Cyrillic, except for a number. 1869. It seems our Medovsky has friends in low places. By extraordinary good fortune, the coin I'd picked up, the perfect shape to flip open the broken catch. Fancy that. Romanovs. The same brand of cigarettes that were in the ashtray in Vera's security. Keys are always useful. It was locked. The study door's open now. Hear anything else interesting?
Hang on.
Listen, Hobbs, just take the portfolio and do your work. You are nervous, and I don't like that.
Understood. I have got a few questions, though.
I do not like questions either. Hurry up.
I noticed a couple of people arriving. Who were they? They look like coppers.
They were from the insurance company.
Has the...
Hobbs is going to head off with the portfolio. Whatever's in there is important. We need to stay with it.
I got Hobbs' address from his card. When we're done here, we should check it out.
Okay, Josh, but hurry. Medovsky will be back soon.
I'm gonna check out the study.
Okay.
Wow, there must be millions of dollars worth of art on these walls. The drawer was open. My heart skipped a beat. But inside, I saw only a candy bar wrapper. These paintings would have kept a critic enraptured for hours, but I didn't have time to dwell. The painting reminded me of my Aunt Maud. I'd never liked her. Medovsky certainly loved art, or pretended to. Medovsky had a truly impressive collection of paintings. Medovsky had a truly Medovsky had a Medovsky had Medovsky It was an expensive chair. The ashtray was full of cigarette butts. Romanovs. The desk was magnificent. Those two little holes were just waiting for me to put my fingers in them. I resisted the urge. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf inside was a business card and a scribbled note. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf inside was a business card and a scribbled. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf inside was a business card and a scribbled. I should have guessed. Keyboard was Cyrillic. I didn't know the symbols. If I'd been able to remember the layout of a US keyboard, I might have been able to figure it out. Nico?
Shh. I'm eavesdropping, Georges.
Medovsky in Libya. Happy days. I should have guessed. Keyboard was Cyrillic. ZX. I needed a keyboard for reference. ZX. I needed a keyboard for reference. I knew we should wait for Medovsky. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf inside was a business card and a scribbled note. Medovsky had left the cabinet open. On the shelf in... Everything was in Cyrillic, except for a number. 1869. I should have guessed. Keyboard was Cyrillic. A secret drawer popped open. I knew that publication date would be significant. At last, I was going to discover Medovsky's secrets. It certainly wasn't Medovsky's sock drawer. Hey, Nico! Come see this! I think we've struck gold.
Hang on, I'm coming.
Look, a letter from a guy called Gainan. His company, Wolfram, want to purchase La Maledizio. They're offering way over the asking price.
Anything connecting Medovsky to Vera?
Well, let's see. Here we go. A lease for Vera's security.
Aha! Then we have the proof we need.
Hang on, what's this? Expenses for a Mr. Shears. Waterloo Motors, one helmet. These are from Paris. Madame La Trex. Hotel Britannique. Pizza. Nico. Pizza. I think your friend Shears might just be Henri's killer.
George, what have we got ourselves into? I just heard the front door close. Medovsky's coming. Put everything back in order, quick!
Right. He'll never suspect we just ransacked his house for evidence.
George, the coin!
Damn, no time. Look cool, Nico. I'll handle this.
I apologize for the lengthy wait. As you can imagine, my time is at a premium.
That's fine, Mr. Medovsky. I think we're almost finished anyway.
And payment?
Very soon, monsieur. Very soon.
Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Nice collection of medals you have there, Mr. Medovsky.
I earned them serving my country.
Anywhere interesting?
Chechnya. Ever been there?
No, can't say I've had the pleasure. Is that a first edition of War and Peace?
Of course. Printed in 1869. A great year for my country's literature. And Tolstoy is the master.
Is that a picture of you with Colonel Gaddafi?
A deeply wonderful man. He was a great fan of the Impressionists.
Well, he certainly left quite an impression on Libya. So, what brought you into the art business, Mr. Medovsky?
Oh, an eye for great artists, an appreciation of fine culture, and a love of what you Americans call the greenback.
You must be upset at the theft of La Malediccio.
Yes, and disappointed that someone would kill for such a minor piece.
So this Hobbs guy, good friend of yours, is he?
No, we simply have a business arrangement. We've been through this already. Now please, if you're quite finished, I'm a busy man.
Thank you for your time, Monsieur Medovsky. We'll be in touch soon.
Well, no prizes for guessing where we go now.
Hobbs' place, right?
Got it in one. Medovsky's pretty shady, don't you think?
He bought our act, though. You make a pretty good insurance man, Georges.
Yeah, who'd have thought it?
By the time he realizes we're not assessing his claim, we'll have cracked the case and be toasting our success.
Here's hoping. Looks like rain.
Come on, let's get that cab. Taxi!
I think we just stepped off the London tourist trail.
I guess this Hobbs character doesn't like visitors.
Not the kind of place you'd expect to find a restorer of old masters.
Unless you didn't want to attract attention.
He's attracted ours. Let's see what Mr. Hobbs knows about La Malediccio.
And let's try and get a look inside that portfolio.
Mr. Rickenbacker?
You better have some good news, Stobart.
I absolutely do.
Go on, then. Impress me.
I went to visit Medovsky, the owner of the painting, and Vera's security.
Go on.
I found some paperwork that proves Medovsky stole his own painting.
Huh, great work. But we're gonna need more. You have to find the painting.
Now wasn't the best time to call Rickenbacker. I wouldn't have been able to break the chain, or the padlock. Piles of junk, mostly boxes of old paints and scraps of picture frames. Mixed in were wires, cardboard, and some dubious-looking old clothes. George Stobart.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart. I trust you have obeyed my instructions not to leave Paris.
Of course, Inspector.
Good. You clearly know which side your cookie is buttered. Now, I require your presence tomorrow at the murder scene for a reconstruction.
I see.
12 o'clock sharp, monsieur. Or, as you would say, high noon.
Sure.
Any failure to comply, and I shall have you extraordinarily rendered. Have a nice day now.
And you. That was Nave. We're required back at the gallery tomorrow for a crime scene reconstruction.
Let me guess. Non-attendance is a criminal offense?
You got it. The large dumpster was full of garbage. Slasher. The door was locked. Looking through the window, I could see that there was nothing in the van. Hobbs must have taken the portfolio inside. It was Hobbs's mailbox. There was a note hanging out. For a second, I debated the morality of mail snooping. It was a short debate, and I won. I decided to open the letter. Dear Mr. Hobbs, due to previous incidents, we are writing to inform you that we will no longer be sending models to your address. It went on to discuss Hobbs's temper and other alleged infractions, some of which still carry the death sentence in certain less sophisticated cultures. Interesting. The letter advised Mr. Hobbs that no more models would be sent to his address. Climbing drain pipes was something I preferred to avoid, unless I had a great reason to do so. There was a light on up above, and I could hear music playing. Someone had to be home. I don't think Hobbs can hear us. The hood was definitely stuck. I decided to leave the handbrake alone. Not a sound. The horn wasn't working. I decided... I popped open the van's hood. The engine was held together by rust and dirt. Everything was covered in a sticky film of dirty black oil. Half the wiring wasn't connected to anything. It was clear why the horn hadn't made a noise. Neither horn pipe was connected to either the battery or the cab. A bundle of short, severed wires was connected to the battery. None of the wires were connected to anything. It was the van battery. I needed to hook this up to the horn somehow. It was one of two horns in the van. It didn't seem to be connected to anything else under the hood. Two wires hung loose from it. A loose wire hung from the horn. If I had some spare cable, I could connect it to the other horn. It was the van's engine. It was one of two horns. It didn't seem to be connected to any. A loose wire hung. If I had some spare cable, I could connect it to the other horn. A bundle of wires came into the engine bay from the dashboard. Many of the wires seemed to lead nowhere. That wasn't worth trying. That was never gonna... It was the van. That was almost a great idea. That wouldn't work. I had found just what I needed. 2 lengths of wire. The engine bay was a mess. I used the wire to join the battery to the horn. I decided the horn wasn't working. I'd need the keys to start the engine. I had no reason nor any desire to steal Hobbs's van. If only I'd hung out with the cool kids at school, I'd have learned how to hotwire a truck. The horn wasn't working. If only I'd hung out with... I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. The horn wasn't working. I decided to... There was already a wire connected to that. That was almost a great idea. I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. The horn was... The van's hood was already open. I had no reason. A bundle of short, severed wires was connected. I used the wire to join the battery to the horn. I connected the wires. A loose wire. That wouldn't work. I needed a better. I used the wire to join. Climbing drain pipes was something. The door was locked. Looking through the window, I could see that there was nothing in the van. Hobbs must have taken the portfolio inside. I wouldn't have been able to break the chain. The horn wasn't working. I decided to leave the handbrake alone. Nico?
What's up?
The lights are on, but nobody's answering.
Maybe they can't hear you knocking. We could try some other way of attracting their attention.
The horn. The large dump. It was the van battery. A loose wire hung from the horn. A loose wire. A bundle of wires came into the engine bay from the dashboard. It was the van's engine. It was the van. A bundle of short, severed. That would be. I needed a... Nope, I need... It was the... That was... That would be... That... That was... I used the wire to... A loose wire hung from the horn. It was the van... A bundle of... It was the van... A bundle of wires came into the end. A loose wire. If I had some spare cable, I could connect it to the wires from the cab. That so didn't work. Vera's security. A pile of... There was nothing else of interest in it. There was nothing... There was nothing... The van's... The horn was... I just... There was nothing else of interest. It was the van's end. It was the van battery. I needed a... It was the... I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. A loose wire hung from the right-hand horn. It was the van. The wire just reached across. It'd be crazy to cut it now. I snipped the wire in half. The wire was just long enough to connect. I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. Everything was wired up. The horn had power. I figured that should get Hobbs' attention.
All right, hold your blooming horses. What are you up to with my van?
Hello there. We fixed your horn.
So I hear. Now what are you doing in my yard?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... Well, that could have gone better.
He's not exactly the friendliest of characters.
I decided to get...
For crying out loud, will you leave my van alone?
Sorry, just need a quick word, Mr. Hobbs. Afternoon, Mr. Hobbs. We're from the model agency.
About blooming time. I'm on a deadline. You better come up. About time you two showed up.
Hello, Mr. Hobbs. I was just wondering if...
Can it, Goldilocks? I don't have time for chit-chat. Just get undressed behind that screen.
Undressed?
That was the deal. An extra 20 quid because I need you with your kit off.
The studio was freezing.
And as for you, darling, no need to get undressed. I've got a vivid imagination, so I'll just use that. Either way, just go sit over there on that rug and give me your best Belle Epoque floozy. That's perfect. Just hold it there.
Nico made for a good distraction. I just needed to figure out how to get a look inside that portfolio. A variety of liquor bottles, all empty.
Hey, I'm still drinking that.
I didn't need to sit. It was time for action. I wasn't going to mess around with that wiring. That was never going to work. How about a top-up, Mr. Hobbs?
Thanks, but I've already got a glassful. Hi, what do you think?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to take a look at some of your pictures. You're very good.
I know, and that portfolio is private. I'm not paying you to gawp around my studio. Get your blooming clothes off!
Sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
Oh, what do you want? You're supposed to be sprawled naked on that rug with the family jewels out.
Yeah, well, about that. Could I just ask you a couple of questions first?
Blow me. A model who's shy and chatty. It must be my birthday.
Mr. Hobbs, meet Trevor.
Who's Trevor?
My cockroach. Take a look.
Difficult childhood, eh? Well, don't take it out on me.
I have a letter for you, Mr. Hobbs.
From the model agency. Bane in my life, models. Speaking of which, why have you still got your clothes on?
How about a top-up, Mr. Hobbs?
Thanks.
Excuse me, Mr.
What?
Showing that to Hobbs was not. I hear you did the restoration of that painting that got stolen recently in Paris?
I might have. It's a fine piece. You can smell the pain in every brushstroke.
Do you know a Russian called Madovsky?
You know Madovsky?
Everyone in the London art scene knows Madovsky.
And everyone in the London art scene who likes their kneecaps knows when to keep their trap shut.
Excuse me.
What?
So, what's in the folder that you're so touchy about?
Little boys should keep their noses out of other people's business. Understand?
Totally.
I have got my eye on you, pal.
Yeah, about this naked sprawling.
Oh, what's up? Afraid of the shrinking effects of a cold warehouse?
No, it's just.
First time? A little embarrassed? Well, if it helps, we can all get naked.
No, definitely not.
Well then, what are you waiting for? Let the monkey see the nuts.
We had a saying in the Stobart family. If a job's worth doing, then do it with your pants on. But I thought you were a restorer, but you're working on this painting from scratch.
Well, yeah. Look, some clients want a painting that they don't own, restored from scratch, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
Don't worry, sunshine. Ignorance is bliss.
Tell me more about
Why all the interest in that picture? We're not at the Slade now, Sonny Jim.
Are you sure you won't talk about Madovsky?
Are you deaf? I already told you to drop the subject.
I'll let you get back.
You're too kind.
Wow, an old Bofson Wang stereo. I hadn't seen one of those for years. The record had stopped. It was Jasmine Breeze by the Hairy Lobsters. Hobbs seemed to have a thing for 70s psychedelic jams. Burroughs, Dick, Rand. Hobbs liked his literature heavy and paranoid. I turned the volume up a few notches. I turned the volume down again. I turned the volume up. I didn't want to play around with the nigglers. Those days are long gone. But I wondered who it did belong to.
Hey! Leave that dial alone. The heating gobbles up all the power and the circuits can't take it.
Sorry. I turned the thermostat down again. I had no need to walk out. It was a shaky old elevator that would once have lifted goods between the floors. It was locked. I wondered...
Hey, stop meddling with that. The power's ropey enough as it is.
Blowing the power would certainly have distracted Hobbs, but the elevator alone wasn't going to trip the whole system.
My, if it isn't George Stobart.
Lady Piermont. Oh my. You're...
Naked? Of course. As an artist's muse, one often finds oneself en pelotas. Now, George, don't be shy. Come here and give me a big hug.
That day was the day the nightmares had begun. Trapped, smothered, choking on lavender.
George, darling, pass me my robe. It's terribly cold in here.
Oi, what are you doing with a blooming robe on? God help me, but you're supposed to be naked. I've got a deadline to meet.
Well, you won't be meeting any deadlines with manners like that. And besides, it's freezing in here.
Lady Piermont and I had met before. She was larger than life, in every way. Lady Piermont.
Oh, George, be a darling and sort the heating out in here.
I'll see what I can do.
Hey! I've told you, don't mess with that thermostat.
Sorry, but Lady Piermont is cold. I thought...
Look, pal, I know it's brass monkeys in here, but the wiring in this building is ancient, and the fuse box won't take it. Her Majesty will just have to get used to chapel hat pegs.
Lady Piermont, Mr. Hobbs won't let me turn up the heating.
Well, we'll soon see about that.
Oh, crumbs.
If you do not adjust the heating, I shall refuse to cooperate.
Lady Piermont, it's the circuits. They won't take the strain. You know what old buildings are like.
In which case, I see no reason for this session to continue.
Whoa, Lady Piermont, let's not be too hasty. I'm sure I can accommodate your needs.
Good. Perhaps you can start by letting George here turn up the heating.
Oh, go ahead then, but be careful. The power in here is temperamental.
I turned the thermostat up as far as it would go. I wondered if the suspicious wiring could be used to my advantage.
Hey, that's my...
How about another whiskey?
Oh, don't mind if I do. Hey! Oh, you! Get down from there. You'll trip the power in the whole building if you're not careful.
The elevator on its own wasn't going to blow the power. It was a ship. I'd better not touch them. I had no need to walk out on it. I didn't need to sit. I wasn't going to mess around with that wiring. So how are we going to get a peek inside that folder?
Perhaps your lady friend over there could help.
Lady Piermont? Well, she has many assets, but subtlety isn't one of them.
Who said anything about subtlety? We need to distract Hobbs, and she's certainly distracting. No, excuse me, but you're casting a shadow.
Wary of any more life-changing surprises, I decided against exploring. A word, if I may, lady.
For you, George, I'm all ear.
What do you think of this, Lady Piermont?
Not much, Georgie, not much.
How about a shot of this, Lady Piermont?
Oh, no, dear. I don't touch the stuff. Reminds me of husband number 5. Or was it 6? Terrible bore, anyway. I'm strictly a gin girl. Ice and a slice and a whiff of tonic.
How did you come to be working with Mr. Hobbs?
Wheresoever a bohemian needs a helping hand, George, mine is always at the ready. And what better way to help than to expose one's flesh to the sensuous brushstrokes of such a talent?
Do you know anything about a stolen painting called La Maledicción?
Oh, is this another of your adventures, George? How delicious. My heart's a tremor, George. Do you think Wilf is mixed up with this?
Maybe, but I need you to act normally until we're sure.
Mum's the word, Georgie.
Can you keep a secret, Lady Piermont?
I am the very soul of discretion, as you know.
You see that portfolio by Hobbs's table? We need to take a peek inside.
Be still, my beating heart. Just give me the nod and I'm putty in your hands.
So what have you been up to since our last encounter, Lady Piermont?
Charity work, dear boy.
Oh, any particular kind?
Young men, George. So many have lost their way. I try to guide them best I can.
That's all for now.
Oh, you.
The elevator on... Hobbs? I turned the volume down again. I turned the volume up a few notches. A word, if I may. Fight! Lady Piermont, we need your help.
How thrilling! What do you need? Subterfuge? Leisure domain?
Actually, I just need you to step onto that lift behind you.
Oh, but of course. Is this good, George, darling?
Perfect. Now, just stay right there.
Oh, not again.
Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
Hold your horses, will you? We could chat in the pub once I've...
Hobbs was really drunk. How about another whiskey?
That's smashing. Far away.
Lady Piermont was a good sport to ride that rickety old elevator for me. Now was my chance. It was one of Hobbs' sketches. More of Hobbs' sketches. The model looked familiar. Impressionist sketches. Well, it wasn't La Malediccio, but it did appear to be a study for an element of the painting, the Ouroboros. There was something different about the image in the center. I figured the sketch might come in handy, so I took it.
What the heck are you doing with those? They're private papers.
Huh?
Well, that was fun. Just like when you were a private Dick, George.
So, you're not models?
No, Mr. Hobbs.
Well, you can't be a copper. You're not stupid enough. So what the blazes are you doing in my studio?
We're investigating the theft of La Malediccio.
I told you, I just restored it. That's what I do. Restore paintings.
And these sketches?
Studies done during the restoration, nothing more. I've got naught to do with what happened after that painting left this studio. How was I to know it was going to get Henri killed?
Hang on a second. How do you know Henri's dead?
Look, he and I went back a long way. Le Lézard Bleu was on the ropes, so I got the painting into his exhibition. Nothing like this was supposed to happen.
We're not accusing you of anything, Mr. Hobbs. We just want to get to the bottom of this.
I get that, and I'll help you however I can, but this mess is way above my pay grade.
I'd just taken the sketch from Hobbs's portfolio. Now wasn't the time to hand it back. How come you needed to make so many sketches of the painting to restore it?
Restoration's not about throwing a load of paint around. It takes research. The surface is a complicated painting. A lot of subtext, a lot of symbols.
Why would anyone want to steal La Malediccio? It's not exactly a famous painting.
True, but there is something special about it that's hard to describe. There's conviction in every brushstroke. Whoever El Serp was, he had a tale to tell. The symbolism is deeply religious.
We have reason to believe that Madovsky is mixed up in the theft of La Malediccio.
Eh? What would he gain from stealing his own painting?
We have strong evidence that Madovsky is not the real owner.
You'll have a hard time proving that. Medovsky has a full set of provenances for the painting. It traces its legitimate ownership all the way back to the painter.
Why didn't Madovsky mention him?
Because they're not with him. Henri's got them, or had them.
And Henri is dead.
So ask his partner.
Lane?
Lane, yeah, Lane. Look, pal, you're wasting your time looking for conspiracies here. And you're wasting my time if you're not actually going to get naked. Go get the provenance from Lane, and everything will turn out hunky-dory.
But it also puts Marquez's story into question.
Not my problem, darling. Now both of you, get lost. I've got a painting to finish.
And we have a critic to interrogate.
Someone's lying, but who?
Is it the gangster or the old Spaniard?
The painter or the art critic?
I need to head back for Nave's reconstruction.
What about the evidence from Medovsky's house? Will you give it to Nave?
I think I should. And I can put the squeeze on Lane. Ask him about the provenance.
Good. I've got lunch with Ronnie tomorrow. This story is hotting up, and I want to make sure he keeps me on it.
Taxi!